Yo, what's going on YouTube? And welcome back to Goal Line Hockey. It's your boy Kevin Forsythe, and we are taking a look today at the statement that we saw made by the Colorado Avalanche in Game 1 of their second round series with the Vegas Golden Knights. We'll be taking a look at that in this video. If you guys like what we're doing here at Goal Line Hockey, want to see the latest news around the NHL and more videos just like this one, more playoff coverage, make sure to give this video a big thumbs up and an even bigger subscribe down below. And let's take a look at this Game 1 craziness between the Avalanche and the Golden Knights. This game was unbelievable right from the very start. And the game did not disappoint early on. We saw Mikko Rantanen score less than 5 minutes into the game. He gets his second of the postseason and the first goal of this series. Landeskog scored less than 5 minutes later. It's a 2-0 game going into the second period. The second period, we saw Brandon Saad get his fourth of the postseason, and over a little over a minute into that period, so it's 3-0. Nathan MacKinnon again, his seventh of the postseason. And just an absolutely beautiful goal. Landeskog scores again just to add salt to the wound on the power play. Landeskog's fourth. William Karlsson, the only goal scorer in this one for Vegas, makes the game 6-1. And of course, Cale Makar makes it 7-1 on the power play once again. And the Avalanche win this game. Now, there's a lot of underlying storylines that we have to get through. Shots on goal, 37-25. Colorado had lots of shots in this game, and you got to give some credit here to the Avalanche and their power play as well. 2 for 6 on the game, and they limited Vegas's power play to 0-2. Good stuff in that regard. You just look at, I don't even know how to say this. What we saw from this game, and a lot of it came from the Ryan Graves hit. The Ryan Graves hit, I haven't looked at yet. I feel like that's a big determining factor in maybe people's opinion on this. But what we saw after with what Ryan Reaves did to Ryan Graves is just, it's ridiculous. And then you saw the high hit on Sammy Girard. That I did see. And the Revo hit on Grubauer and Graves. Like, it's not good stuff. And it's the kind of thing that I think we're trying to get rid of in the NHL. And listen, I like the hitting, I like the fighting, I'm fine with all that. But the cheap shot stuff, I'm not cool with. I think that hit on Philip Grubauer by Ryan Reaves, maybe Grubauer was playing it up a little bit, but still, I do not think that was needed. And Revo was kneeing and punching him on the ground. That's the kind of stuff. And this is, again, I'm not going to get into this, but what would fans be doing if it wasn't Ryan Graves? What if that was Nathan MacKinnon? Would the verdict be different on that? Is it the way the Rangers with the Artemi Panarin thing, right? If it wasn't Panarin, if it was Ryan Strome, nobody cared about Ryan Strome getting his face crunched into the ice by Wilson. It was after that when Panarin got flipped around and thrown on the ground by Wilson. That's when everybody freaked out. So that's the kind of stuff that bothers me in its own right. But at the end of the day, Vegas had to set some kind of tempo. They were getting bullied in this game hard. And the Avalanche sent a statement. Listen, we're business. You saw what they did in that first round series against the Blues. Some of you even in the comments mentioned, the Avalanche went to work and they went through the St. Louis Blues like nothing. Just stepped on them like an ant and just kept walking. That was it. And I think we're seeing that maybe to a different degree because we're talking about Vegas, who is this high prestige elite team in the NHL. And we're starting to see and they mentioned in the broadcast, the way they handled their series with the Wild. They were up 3-1. They had the Wild up against the wall twice. Had them by a stranglehold, and it ended up going to 7 games. That may have affected the way the Vegas Golden Knights handled this series. And I love Robin Lehner. He was the starter for this game. We did not see Marc-Andre Fleury start, Pete DeBoer decided to go with Leonard. But again, Marc-Andre Fleury's been playing a lot of hockey recently because they couldn't win that series in 5, when legitimately they probably should have won that series in 5 over the Wild. Goes to 7 games, and now you can't start Fleury, and your team looks a little banged up and a little bit, tired from that last series. And Colorado looks fresh. They haven't played in a week, and they mean business, and they took care of their business absolutely in Game 1. Is this, again, beating a team 7-1 doesn't mean they lead the series 2-0. It's still one game. It's still one win. We saw this a couple years ago with the Edmonton Oilers and the San Jose Sharks, where the Sharks absolutely blew the doors off of the Edmonton Oilers in that game. But the Oilers ended up winning the next 2, and it kind of took away from that momentum. But again, it sets the tempo, and for the Vegas Golden Knights, you have to play aggressive. But the St. Louis Blues tried to do the same thing to the Avalanche. These very Avalanche, trying to bully them around, and it didn't work. It didn't work. And you got to realize that the Avalanche have some big boys on this team. Like I mentioned, guys like Ryan Graves, not a small dude. You're also looking at a guy like Gabriel Landeskog, the captain. He's willing to drop the gloves. So this is the kind of stuff that is good for the game. There's going to be a lot of attention on Game 2 because after the game, Gabriel Landeskog came out and said, yeah, that's what Ryan Reeves does. He throws cheap shots in the third period when their team's down and kind of chirping him a little bit, which is good for the game. And I know the managers may not like it too much, but for the fans, it adds that little bit of beef and that little bit of, off-ice drama, and I think it's better for the game. I don't agree with what Ryan Reeves did in the game, but you have to respect the fact that now this has created more hype going into Game 2. And the question is, what's going to happen not only in Game 2, but through the rest of this series? Because my opinion going into the playoffs was, or into this series was, I was going with Marc-Andre Fleury being the better bet against Philip Grubauer. What is it now, 10 years straight that Marc-Andre Fleury has made the postseason? It's hard to argue that. And the amount of success he's had in the postseason, he took Vegas to the final in 2018. He's taken, the Penguins on some really good runs in his time in Pittsburgh. Won a couple Stanley Cups, no big deal. So, that's the kind of stuff, though, that I think going into this series, I expected Fleury to be the guy. But now, we're seeing Robin Lehner. Maybe he won't start Game 2. Maybe that'll change the series and just give the Golden Knights a little sigh of relief. All right, Fleury's back in between the pipes. We're going to play very physical. But what if that doesn't work? Because that's what the Blues tried to do. They played physical. They changed their goaltending, and it didn't make a difference. Because at the end of the day, the Avalanche are just that good. And you have to give credit to Joe Sakic and the coaching staff there. Because what they have done in Colorado is just short of unbelievable. And the dominance that they have shown, they just let the other 6 teams in the NHL that are left in the Stanley Cup playoffs, hey, listen, we're the real deal. And the way we just handled Vegas in Game 1, we could be doing that to you in the 3rd or 4th round of the Stanley Cup playoffs. So, guys, let me know what you think. In the comment section down below, what do you think the Vegas Golden Knights will do going into Game 2 and beyond in this second round matchup? Because this was a very hyped matchup. I mean, we knew this was going to happen in the beginning of this season, that we were going to see these two teams battle it out in the Stanley Cup playoffs, whether it would be in the first or second round. You knew these teams were going to meet up in the playoffs. And the talk all season, who's better, Vegas or Colorado? Vegas has more experience. Colorado has more skill and just raw talent. And we're starting to see that on full display right now. So let me know your predictions who will win this series. And if you guys like what we're doing here at Goal Line Hockey, want to see the latest news around the NHL, more videos just like this one, make sure to give this video a big thumbs up and an even bigger subscribe down below. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you guys next time.